Well, my name's Louisa and I'm a French teacher. I am here in my little school in Saint-Junien, which is just a few kilometres outside of the centre of Saint-Junien. I work with hundreds of expats here face to face and online as well. And I have made it my mission to make sure that there's plenty of English speakers who are able to also then communicate to the best of their ability in French too. So I became a teacher in 2002. I did my training in 2002-2003 in the south of England. And I started teaching in a school in just near Bournemouth. It was a school for 11 to 18-year-olds. So I taught from the little ones right up until the 18-year-olds and sent them off to uni. I quite quickly became head of department, became head of languages in a school in Southampton, all-girls school in Southampton. So I had a department of, I think there was 8 of us, 8 teachers. We taught French, German and Spanish. Again, it was an 11 to 18 school, and then I actually went back to my first school where I became head of department of a bigger department. There was about 12 of us in the department in my previous school, and I worked there for 14 years, pretty much, before we made the decision to move to France. So I guess the love of teaching comes from my mum, who is also a teacher, and my mum is also Danish. So I grew up bilingual. Always felt like it was the most fantastic gift that my mum gave me to speak to me in Danish. And when I went to university, I started off thinking I was going to do a business degree. I started off doing business and French, and actually quite quickly realised that perhaps the economic side of things didn't interest me as much as my A-levels had done, where I had done psychology. So I decided to change, and my degree ended up being a combined honours in French and psychology. And with the psychology, I learnt a lot about people, about memory, about learning. And actually, as part of my degree, I went and spent a year in Clermont-Ferrand, which is not too far from where I've ended up. And in that time I was an assistant in a French lycée, in a French sixth form college, and that year of working teaching English to French students really made me realise that actually perhaps I've got a bit of my mum's teaching in me, and I really enjoyed it. I just loved kind of being able to see my students be kind of blossoming and being able to say what they want to say, because it's a good feeling for them when they learn, and it's a good feeling for a teacher when you teach. So I came back from there, and that was kind of, right, I think actually teaching is going to be the way that I'm going to go. In terms of my actual, what I taught, language-wise, I taught some German, because my Danish has kind of kept my German knowledge quite alive, as it were. I taught some Spanish as well. I didn't actually learn Spanish at school. I actually decided to spend 2 weeks in Spain, an immersion course, when I was 23, in Seville. Beautiful, beautiful place. When I first got there, I just about knew hola, and after a couple of weeks of lessons every day, I was able to communicate, I was able to speak reasonably okay Spanish, and that then meant that I was able to go and teach that to the little ones back in school in the UK. And so really that kind of shows that love of languages that has always been with me through my whole life, and my job, fortunately, has allowed me to share that love of languages with other people and help them to learn too. It's taken a little bit of time to get into my groove of how to teach adult learners who are here living in France compared to students who were taking GCSE or an A-level. I feel like I've really got to grips with how to best frame what we're teaching now, because my students want to be able to communicate now. They want to be able to go out and be able to understand what somebody's saying to them out and about. They want to be able to ask for something in a supermarket. They want to be able to really use their language in everyday situations. So we do lots and lots of speaking in my classroom and with my online students. We do lots of work on being able to understand people and how to break down the language so it doesn't just sound like blah 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 blah, which it can do when somebody's speaking fast to you, but working out kind of where those words are joining together. And once you've kind of unlocked those little tricks of the language, it means that you can understand it much better. We do lots of different things that help the language to really stick, because that's something that lots of my students have said to me. You know, I get told it and then it feels like it goes out of my head 2 minutes later, 5 minutes later. And that's so normal. It's completely, that's how it happens. So the best things that you can do is repeat it in lots of different ways so it doesn't get boring. So you're not just repeating it over and over again in the same way, but also to have some kind of little tricks and tips, some little visual ways to help you remember the things that we've learned. So an example might be, for example, numbers are always tricky. Number 14, I will show a picture of a cat with oars because it's 14. And that kind of visualization of a cat with oars, you know, the number 14 on each oar, can help somebody go, yes, 14, yeah, that's that 14. Or the cans, 15 cans of beer, for example. So little tips and tricks like that can really help. I think the fact that I live here in France with my husband, my children, we moved over here and we've made our lives here in France, has really opened my eyes to exactly what language is needed to be able to go about your daily life over here, to all the different situations that you end up being in, the different bureaucracy you end up dealing with, all those sorts of things are things that now I know firsthand. So I've been able to really tailor exactly what it is that we're learning to what it is that we see as soon as we step out of this classroom. It's something that's really important to me, and it always has been, but particularly here, that I don't like teaching things that just stand alone, that can't be used in a day-to-day situation. So for example, if I teach the alphabet is so important to know. But why is it important to know? It's important to know so that you can spell your name, so that you can spell your address, so that you can spell your name, your child's name, whatever it might be. So learning the alphabet, yes, that's crucial, but learn it with a little phrase to say, my name is, and then your surname, and then you spell it straight away. You go straight into spelling it, and then this is how you can spell it. So really thinking about everything that I teach, why is it useful, and how am I going to be able to help my learners put that into a practical situation they can go out and use it straight away.